Hey, Minnesota Vikings fans, you are listening to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West. I am accompanied by Mr. Kyle Smith this week. How are you, Smith?
That's me. I'm doing fantastic. I hope everybody's happy on this Tuesday evening after victory last night.
Victory. How good does it feel to be 4-0 Minnesota Vikings faithful? I think it's great.
It's fantastic. I don't think any person after Teddy, Adrian, and Matt went down would say that we're going to be undefeated. So I think we're doing pretty good.
We are undefeated, no matter what they say, undefeated.
Well, I'm really excited. I'm going to steal the intro from you. Welcome to
Go for it.
the podcast. Mr. Adam Carlson is tied up with other things. He's the brains of the show. So we have to come up with some pretty creative stuff for these titles to keep up with him. So in honor of us beating the Giants last night, this is episode number 220 of the Purple People podcast, and I named it Oh, Be Quiet.
Oh, be quiet. You got to say it one big long word. Oh, be quiet.
I love it. Odell Beckham had a night to forget, and I wanted to say that.
That's a headline. Wow. That's a newspaper headline. You should be in print.
To forget in Minnesota. There's a missing persons report out on Mr. Odell Beckham. He was nowhere to be found last night. But yeah, he had a horrible night, and we took advantage of it. And I wanted to dedicate this episode to him because I have strong feelings, and I'm going to talk about that later.
I am looking forward to it. I'm going to tell everyone I'm just getting over a cold, so if I have to randomly, I will try to mute my microphone. So any dead time, that's what's going on with that one. But why don't you go ahead and start us off? Maybe we'll take turns here on the quick hits, but yeah, I think you should get started on
put a few of these in here, and I really like some of these updates I got. So let's dive into the quick hits and get those out of the way. So a lot of you guys, if you've listened to the show, you know I love NFL.com, Vikings.com. Just like any other fan, I get my stuff from the internet. Pro Football Focus popped up today, and they were talking about Week 4 winners, losers, individual players, team grades, game grades. So I went to that, and I noticed that they had a all-decade team from 2006 until last year in 2015. I was like, man, we had some good players. So let's see who's on there. I was pretty surprised at where people landed, but I knew we'd have a couple of players. 4 Minnesota Vikings selected. A lot of them were in backup roles. The first one that jumped out at me that I didn't agree with at all, even though there are some good points, Adrian Peterson was listed as the second team behind Marshawn Lynch. Adrian has better numbers and an MVP under his belt. Marshawn has less fumbles, lots more broken tackles, and he also has a Super Bowl ring and an extra appearance. So I kind of get it. I think Adrian's a better back, only by a hair, but they're both very talented. That's why they're in there. Mm-hmm. The Williams Wall. Now, this is the one that made me really, really happy, and the last one that I'll get to. Defensive tackle Kevin Williams sits behind J.J. Watt and Justin Smith, and Pat Williams is second team at nose tackle behind Vince Wilfork. So there's some pretty hefty names to be on an all-decades team, so it's pretty cool they were in there. Probably my favorite, though, out of all of these, good to see the old Williams Wall, but Antoine Winfield is the number 1 slot corner of choice for the all-decade team from Pro Football Focus. So if you wanted to kind of bring some nostalgia back to some guys that we actually were on the team not that long ago.
Surprised no Jared Allen.
Yeah, that was the number 1 snub for
no Jared on that list.
The years that were taken, I think it was too early to put in a Harrison Smith type, even though he's been pretty dominant. But yeah, he was the biggest snub there. But you got to think there's a lot of good defensive ends from that time. But he did have a lot of good numbers, especially with us. So it was definitely a snub if you ask me. But I'll let you steal the next quick hit because this had you written all over it, man.
Yeah, you see, I got my Randy Moss jersey on for this episode too. Former Minnesota Vikings receiver Randy Moss, he sounded the big Gallahorn before the game against the Giants last night on Monday Night Football. That was an epic, awesome moment to see Randy up there pumping up the crowd. Viking ownership, get him in the Ring of Honor. Like, why is he not? He should have been in there for the inaugural season here at US Bank Stadium. In my opinion, they should have done a big thing where they were unveiling his name up top in the Ring of Honor. He deserves it. We know he's going to be there. We know he's going into the Hall of Fame one day. So let's get his number up there for the Vikings. Let's get 84 up there. This is a good start. I'm glad to see him getting back on, good graces with the team. Not that I think that he was ever really on bad graces, but you know how it ended with that idiot Brad Childress or whatever and all that junk there towards the end. But Randy is a legend in Minnesota, and when I got a chance to walk around US Bank Stadium before the season started, I was really happy to see that they had artwork and stuff by him because he really is just such an important part of this team's history, and I hope they continue to with Randy and the Vikings moving forward.
Absolutely. I only have 3 words for you: straight cash, homie.
Yeah, straight cash.
I love it, man. It was cool to see him last night. He's coming up for the Hall of Fame either before next season or the year after, because he played his last year in that Super Bowl with San Fran when they lost to Baltimore. So that was 4 years ago, that'll be 4 years ago coming up. So yeah, probably not next season, but the one before that. He should go in. I definitely agree. I think the season that he's eligible for the Hall of Fame, I think that's probably when it'll happen. Maybe, who knows? But he should definitely be in there.
The Hall of Fame, I don't want to get too much because we got a lot to talk about, but, the Hall of Fame is kind of weird on voting, and I could see them making him wait maybe a year before he goes in, but I think he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I agree. He definitely changed the position in the game, especially in that time frame. He was pretty much uncoverable. He was a snub, too, by the way. I've been staying with people, and I promise you guys we'll move on to quick hits. Adam's probably not going to care out. But I watched the top 10, the all-decade team on NFL Network for receivers. He was number 2.
Who's ahead of him?
See, that's exactly what I said. I was like, Randy Moss is going to be number 1. I believe it was Marvin Harrison, because him and Peyton Manning would just touchdowns.
Bullshit. You line up Moss and Harrison. Moss would.
Dude,
he's the better. He's the better every time.
They had on there, and every analyst is like, "This is highway robbery. Why is who's ahead of Randy Moss?" But he definitely made for the decades team for 2000 to 2010. He was on there, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that shit gets me worked up. But let's move on.
I'll let you steal this one too, man. This is a pretty cool little fun.
Okay, I found this one. Jon Gruden partnered with the Minnesota Vikings. Interesting pairing. That Gruden will be working with the Vikings. But they delivered 4 grants to Minnesota high schools. Each school received $2,000 each. And that was more to this article. You can find it over on Vikings.com. I thought that was really cool that the Vikings were able to partner with Jon Gruden, who has never coached for the team, never whatever. But they were able to work together and do some good for the community and whatnot. I think that's a really cool little piece.
It's another classy move by Minnesota, another classy move by a Super Bowl winning coach. He was all over us last night, wearing a Purple Rain shirt. He loves the Vikings this year, and he should.
I was going to say, Jon Gruden's on the purple bandwagon, and that makes a lot of us
on that Adam Thielen pickup, getting him on his
hands. I dig it.
That was funny, man. He had a lot of love for the unnamed guys, which is cool. But that's really cool to give back to the community. We're always, we set a bar high to do that, and I hope we continue doing it. That was really cool.
Yeah, I've always really liked Jon Gruden. I know for a long time when we were going through stupid coaches like Brad Childress and Leslie Frazier and whatnot, is that Gruden was a name that a lot of fans wanted to come out of retirement to coach this team. So it's cool in a fun way to kind of see him, doing stuff with the Vikings and wearing purple. And I don't know if Norv was to ever retire. I don't know. Maybe you bring in Gruden.
See, he's got the mind and the credentials to do it. I don't know if he wants to get back in that grind anymore, but he's definitely.
Nah, he don't. He really enjoys broadcasting, but it's fun. It's a fun little what if.
So I've got 2 in here. I'll let you do the last one for yours. So last week after we beat the Carolina Panthers, went 3-0, the Vikings Super Bowl odds went up to 3rd overall. We are tied in 3rd place with the Arizona Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Steelers at 10-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Only 2 teams ahead of us, and Vegas continue to piss me off. Green Bay Packers are in at second place at 7-1, and the New England Patriots, no surprise, 7-2 odds. They're getting Brady back. They're 3-1. They're going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to tell you straight up now. If there's a surefire lock, they're going to the Super Bowl. I don't care that Denver's defense is the best in the league. A pissed off Brady, and you rested him for 4 games. Whatever. It irritates me to death because it looks like a year we could go to the Super Bowl. But I thought that was cool, man. We lose Teddy, we lose AP, we lose Matt Khalil, and we're at third to get the Super Bowl right now. I'm sure that's going to go up and down this season, but I would love to see where we are now that we're 4-0, because this was, like I said, after the Panthers win. Speaking of that, the last note that I had that I entered in this week was, as of right now, it's a quarter way through. Please don't annihilate me, fans. I know we have a lot of football left to play. We're the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Let's be proud of that.
That's definitely last new stadium. This is a week bye that we would get to rest people. I had the streak that we have to continue, and if we only win home games now, we're at a minimum going 10-6, which is amazing to talk about. But we have to keep
only.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, that's a good thing to fall back on. We have a lot of road games coming up, but right now, quarter of the way through the season, we are the number 1 team in our conference, which is amazing to say. So, something to be excited about.
It's a good stat. I know a lot of coaches that break the season down into 4-game stretches. It's like you win your first 4, and then you reset, and then we're going to look at the next 4. So I'd imagine that's kind of the mentality of Mike Zimmer's team as well, too. The final quick hit, and then we're going to get into the Vikings and Giants game review, is that Bud Grant, you guys know who Bud Grant is, he was inducted into the Winnipeg Blue Bombers Ring of Honor. Another accomplishment for the Hall of Fame former head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
It's really awesome, man. He should have the stadium named after him, for God's sake. I know he has like a road somewhere and all that stuff, and it's cool that he came out for the home opener. I know you talked about Randy Moss earlier, but he was out there for the home opener against the Packers. I think he was the one who used the Gallagher. So, I mean, what else can this guy get named after him or get something for him, man? That was really cool, Quinn. That was probably my favorite cricket.
Yeah, Bud's such a legend, Coach. Let's respect him. Coach Grant is such a legend here in Minnesota. And, it was really fun during the home opener to see him come out and blow the horn. And you just tell how much he loved it. Let's get going, though. The Minnesota Vikings put the hurt on the New York Giants, 24-10. We're 4-0, man.
You know the best part of this game? We didn't get a sack yesterday, but Eli Manning was terrified last night.
Oh, if his first read wasn't there, Eli was throwing that ball into the dirt, right straight down. He was terrified of this defense.
I give Ben McAdoo, the head coach of the Giants, and all their coaches and their whole team credit. They were doing some Peyton Manning stuff last night. Get the ball out of your hands, because Minnesota's going to come after you, eat you alive. The Vikings game plan worked to a T. They were going to double team Odell Beckham, and when you take your best player out of the game, it's going to be hard to find ways to win. Victor Cruz, it was actually my surprise from the Giants. He actually looked pretty well, seeing as how he's aged and had a lot of adversity to overcome. But minus a missed screen to some running back I've never heard of. I mean, we did what we have been doing and what I hope that we continue to do. So I'm really, really excited about it. Like you said, we put the hurt on him. There was a touchdown from both of our running backs, a touchdown from Sam Bradford to Kyle Rudolph. There was an interception, and we didn't turn the ball over. And there was a muff punt that Cordero Patterson is the gunner 2 weeks in.
We'll get to Cordero here in a little bit. I missed last week's show. I was sick, recovering from my cold. But I wanted to mention that last week, that was one of, I think, the best defensive performances I've seen the Vikings play ever, and that's saying a lot because we've had some really good defense in Minnesota. And you're continuing to see, you're seeing the continuation of that week to week, where I really feel that the Giants put out a game plan specifically for Eli, where we're talking about if your first read isn't there, get rid of the ball, because they've seen what we've done to Aaron Rodgers and to Cam Newton.
Yep.
And other teams are terrified of this defense. And guys, we're not even really at full strength yet. I mean, we got
Sharif Ford hasn't even played yet. Imagine just another starter to rotate in there.
And he's an absolute monster on defense when he gets back out there for this team as well, too. This is something special for Minnesota. This is those seasons where you're going to be talking about this defense for a long, long time.
Yeah, and I wanted to piggyback. I haven't done that in a while. I wanted to go back to the Carolina game is my favorite this year because Cam's the reigning MVP. We were on the road.
Whoa, Cam.
And we destroyed them. So that was awesome. I'm so glad I got to be a part of it and go to that game. But fun fact, and I put this up on my personal Facebook account. If you guys can find me on there, you can add me. Anybody that's listening, we'll talk Vikings ball all day long. The last 3 quarterbacks that we played are MVPs of some sort. Aaron Rodgers has won the MVP, I think, 3 times. Cam Newton won it last year, and then Eli is a 2-time Super Bowl MVP and winner. So 1 touchdown, 5 picks. That's what this defense is doing. And this doesn't discredit our first win either. Marcus Mariota is a pretty good youngster. And
he's a good up-and-coming quarterback.
And we didn't score.
You have to look at the story that the media is, and then we'll get to our game ball and donkey, but look at the story that the major media is talking about. Every time a team plays Minnesota, it's Marcus Mariota. Is he no longer a starting caliber quarterback? No, he just had a really bad game against Minnesota. What's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? Nothing. It's just the Minnesota Vikings defense. Same story. What's wrong with Cam Newton? The Vikings defense is that dominant. Like, at some point, they're going to have to start recognizing that it's the Vikings that are playing this incredibly well out there.
They are, and I like that we're the underdogs still because they
I'm fine with it.
And I like that. I don't like when we get a big head. I don't like when the media gets on our side because it usually turns up really
I don't care.
horrible.
I don't care about that.
We're gonna have to play regardless. But you're right, and I'm excited, man. There's no denying it.
We win.
If you go on Vikings.com right now, I watched it before we started this. They've already done the comparison, and I forget the guy with the big Andrew Siciliano. He's got the huge ears.
Yeah.
He said, I saw this in the meeting today, going over what we were going to discuss, and I said, please don't talk about that on the show. And then the numbers came up, and it was eerie how similar they are. They're comparing us to the '85 Bears. The numbers through 4 games are so close, it's ridiculous. I know we've got to maintain this, but hey, man, if you're getting talked about with those guys and getting compared to the old purple people eaters, that's cool, man. That's good with me. But
yeah,
let's go in this game ball docu, man. I want to see who you got because you're not into my notes right now, and I'm very curious. And you had my curiosity spinning earlier, so fire away, sir.
I am going to do it. I am going to give my game ball to Cordero Patterson. That's right. The first-round pick wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, Cordero Patterson, they finally fucking got him out there in the game plan for this team. I love it. I know he didn't do anything like any one play that like really grabs you and you went, wow. But he did a lot of really good small things for this team. Whether he's playing gunner, which he did really fantastic the past two weeks that he's been playing gunner out there on special teams. And they're starting to get him out there. And I like this because I think he's too talented to be sitting on the sidelines. And when people say you're manufacturing touches to get him on the field, well, no shit. That's what you do it's what you do as an offensive coordinator. You manufacture plays for Adrian Peterson, for Kyle Rudolph, for Cordero Patterson, for these talented guys. You find ways to get the ball in their hands, and they're finding ways to get Cordero out on the field. And I hope that they can continue to grow from here. And hey, he had some nice catches for Minnesota as well too. What was that? A third down conversion where he went up and he got hit and came down with the ball, and like that was a big boy catch. That's like a wide receiver type of thing that he did. So I'm giving my game ball to Cordero Patterson.
I like that, man. This is the game, and this is right at the point in the season where people would start asking, and he did exactly what he should have done, and this needs to continue if he wants to keep a spot on the team. I'm very happy that he played like he did. Him being a gunner and special teams, he has a speed to be the gunner and cause problems. They need to be that every time. Returning kicks, he's always a threat. I know they did a wildcat formation last night, and they had Asiata.
I like it.
Dude, I love it. And, you don't have to do that every play. Do it twice a game and throw people off. You have McKinnon taking the snap, Asiata to the right, Patterson to the left. You have all these things, and I'm hard on the guy. You guys know that on the show, but what I wanted was what he did last night. That's what we've been seeing all along, because he teased us his rookie year, and then we didn't see anything the last two. So I'm really excited that this happened. That's a good game ball pig, man. Adam's not here. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just really quick wanted to say is that Mike Zimmer preaches hard work, and if you perform, you will get put into the game plan. Like, that's how it does. Yeah. And he put in a lot of work out there on special teams, and you got to see him be rewarded with fitting into the game plan. And Cordero Patterson is one of those players that I've always felt that you kind of have to he's a bit of a diva a little bit, and it's a receiver. Receivers are divas a little bit. Getting his ego going, and like, you made him work hard, you really feel like you earned it, you rewarded him with this in the game plan, that'll continue to get him going, and he can become a larger role in it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yep. You got to find ways to motivate him, because he's still young, and he was very raw. And he still could have been playing in college, a couple of years later. So I get that. I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. Go on.
Adam's not here today, so I wanted to get his take on that. His game ball goes to Alex Boone, which is a fantastic choice. Alex Boone had a hip injury, missed a practice last week, and even Mike Zimmer acknowledged him in his presser today. This is the best game he's played as a Viking. I know he's only been here for 4 games, but cool to see him come back and really step up to protect Sam and to do his job on the line. So that was really cool. Speaking of Sam Bradford, as my buddy Mr. James Hart, shout out, you'll never listen to this because you're a Bears fan, but he's a great ex-frontman from the rock bands 18 Visions and Burn Haven. Shout out to them, some of my favorite bands of all time. I talk to him frequently about football, and he said, so 4 games in, what do you think about Yosemite Sam? And I said, Yosemite Sam, huh? So I'm going to call him that for the rest of the time he's a Viking. He gets my game ball. 3 games in a row, no turnovers, 4 touchdowns, and he spreads the ball around so well. Adam Thielen, Cordero Patterson, Kyle Rudolph caught a touchdown. Diggs was in the game. He uses everyone. He's got great accuracy. Please, for the love of the football gods, keep this man healthy the entire season, because it's only going to get better. And I wanted to give it to him in the Green Bay game. I wanted to give it to him last week, even though the numbers weren't so much there. But he threw the ball 36 times. I think he completed 25. He had a great percentage completion, no turnovers, over 260 yards. I mean, he's doing
262.
I mean, I hate to say it because it's right here, but he's putting up better numbers than we would probably see from Teddy, because better on.
That hurts a little bit.
No. I'm not gonna crap on Teddy. You guys know I love him to death. He's got a better touch on the ball, and he can stretch the field. Speaking of, we'll get into that in the game ball in a minute, but later on we talk about individual positions. But Yosemite fan, you definitely get my game ball, man. I'm becoming a fan week to week, and I cannot wait for the first time he throws an interception. Everybody's gonna tell Teddy to come off of his wheelchair and come back out there and play. Can't wait. I'm calling it now.
Oh, my donkey. Let's just get it out of the way. Blair Walsh.
Yep.
Blair. Did you see Mike Zimmer's reaction on the sideline? I will not repeat what he said, but there was an N and there was an F and an and a couple other things that were involved in that one. I don't have any faith in Blair Walsh anymore. I just don't. Every time he comes onto the field, he's going to miss, whether it's an extra point or a chip shot field goal or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why. He's got the leg strength. He's been accurate in the past.
It's up here, man.
What have you done for me lately? Right now, nothing. So if they're not strongly considering bringing in another kicker, they should be, because I am really super worried that we're not going to continue to get away with, you miss a field goal, you're okay. You miss an extra point, you're okay.
miss him every week, and that's what Zimmer was talking about today.
It's going to catch up to us.
And he's missed field goals in every game so far, and he was asked. Zimmer's always usually like, "Nope, we're sticking with him. Nope, we're sticking with him." And they asked him today, "Are you bringing in anybody?" And he goes, "Not yet." So
yeah, I
definitely there. The good thing is that the only positive that I took away from him last night, he missed his first field goal, and then every extra point and field goal after that he made, which is good.
Yeah, so he did his job.
The only thing that I'm going to give him credit for last night was I believe the one he missed was a 46, which is kind of long.
Yep.
But, bro, you're on the verge of losing your job. So, yeah, it was hard. It's hard not to pick him. For Adam, go ahead.
When I'm sitting here as a fan, Jesus Christ, I'm going to jinx us when I say this. Everyone in the chat's going to laugh. But you know how the season's going to end.
I hope not.
Right? I hope not, too.
I hope this is a Lombardi trophy and that we're holding it up, in Houston this year. That's what I hope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Don't even say it. I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're going to say. Just don't say it.
I'm going to say I'm saying it out loud. I ain't jinxing it. This is not, but we're all Vikings fans. We've got it in the back of our mind that we know. We don't have to say it out loud. We just know.
Adam's not here. Like I said, his donkey goes to TJ Clemmings. 5 pressures. The rest of the O-line had 2 combined. TJ had a rough time last night. So the good thing is I don't know if Sam got sacked, but he was able to stay upright for most of the game and kind of pick and choose where he wanted to go with the ball, which is nice. TJ was on the left side, and I know that Brandon Searles was on covering Jason Pierre-Paul, which is crazy to think about. That was scary. But Andre Smith went down. We hope he's going to recover well. There was no update, by the way, on him. But that's Adam's donkey was TJ Clemmings. Kind of a rough night last night. My donkey, and this is going to surprise you guys, I was going to give it to Eric Kendricks. That dude missed some tackles last night. And he had a surefire pick delivered straight to his chest, and he dropped it. He didn't have his best game last night. He was still all over the field. He's still very athletic, but I'm not giving it to him. And this is going straight into what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to annihilate this dude today. So if you guys want to hear me trash somebody, Odell Beckham Jr. Guys, if you have kids that listen to the show or you got it right now, here's a PSA. 5 seconds, pause me for about 10. Odell Beckham Jr., you are a bitch. And I just can't, for the life of me, understand where you get your sense of entitlement from. And the worst thing about last night, he drew a taunting penalty, and now the NFL rule is if you get 2 in a game, you get ejected. He gets called because he thinks he gets a late hit. He bumps the ref, which national media said it's not just me being a homer. He really did bump a ref last night. And he's got this attitude like he wants to get this crown of I'm the best receiver. Well, when you do that, people are going to challenge you. Xavier Rhodes had his number last night. Terrence Newman had his freaking number. He's 38. But he gets this taunting penalty, and he starts clapping about it. And I'm thinking, bro, I'm not going to wish an injury on you, but I hope someone like Danielle Hunter comes at you full speed and just knocks you into next year for being cocky. If you want to be the best receiver, go out there and leave it on the field. And I'm not going to compare them to any other guys because they get stupid penalties for dancing and twerking in the end zone. But you're not the best receiver in football, dude. You can make one-handed catches. You're not Antonio Brown. Julio Jones had a 300-yard week, and he damn near set the NFL record. You are not the best receiver in football. So get out of your head. Stop being a queen and a diva. He pissed me off last night. When he started clapping, I was furious. And you get my donkey for being an ass clown on primetime television, thinking it's cool. And then he played the woe is me card today when everybody said, oh, I guess if I sneeze wrong, I get a flag. No, if you just don't act like a child, you won't get lit up. So Xavier Rhodes had your number. Have fun with your worst career game. Come back to Minnesota anytime, sir. I think you're muted, man.
I am muted. Hey, I forgot to unmute my microphone when I was typing. That was an amazing rant.
I hate him. He has officially moved up to my most hated wide receiver, and not because he's dominant. I mean, we got his number. Not Andrew Sendejo. Sendejo helped drop back a little bit with Newman and Rhodes, but Harrison Smith and Xavier Rhodes covering you. Good night, dude. You should just go camp out and have 10 men on the field. You're not going to play against them.
Yeah.
And he should have known he was going to get covered, but just the pompous arrogance from this dude is just so flat out annoying, and I don't understand it, man. He's very entitled. His coach needs to get in his ass.
Yep.
Because this is the second week in a row. Josh Norman knows how to get in his head, and he's still got another game against him this year. You have no touchdowns. A fifth-round, second-year receiver on our team is doing better than you are, man. You need to step your game up. You need to go out there, and you're hurting your team when you do that. But, hey, he's not on our team. I'm glad he's not on our team. You would hurt our team doing that. Zimmer wouldn't put up with that crap. But Donkey, all right, cool. I'm going to bring the emotion down a little bit. Odell Beckham's – this is why you're named after the show today. Just be quiet.
Let's move into talking a little bit about some of the positional breakdowns here for the team. I thought it was interesting where you look at Sam Bradford versus Eli Manning. They're very similar in their stats for this week with one big difference. Sam Bradford threw for 262 yards. Eli Manning, 261. The big difference, Sam Bradford had a touchdown. Eli Manning had an interception. And that'll do it. That is the difference between, a lot of times, good quarterback play and bad quarterback play from your quarterback. I am really liking the way Sam is protecting the football for the Vikings. They're doing a good job of, I think, paring the playbook down. I know they don't want to talk about it like in the media or whatever, but let's be honest. He can't have the full playbook. Like, they're not running the full North Turner playbook with it, but they're doing a good job with what they have, and he will only continue to get better as he learns more and gets more comfortable with the offense. I think they're doing
a bold statement. They're doing later tonight. I'm going to piss off the entire Facebook page, and it's about this. But yes, I agree. They're taking what they're given. They're getting their as I go through puberty on here, they're taking the hand that they're dealt and they're playing it just right. And I'm telling you guys, the only thing that's going to kill us this year is ourselves. Either we have a bad game and get in our own head, or injuries keep on happening. I hope the injury bug is done biting us. But yeah, man, like they're playing their strengths so good right now. So I'll get on that. I'll get on that later.
Yeah. Rushing without Adrian Peterson had 85 yards and a touchdown. Longest run of the season so far. A 25-yard run from Jerick McKinnon. Otherwise, Matt Asiata continued to bulldoze with only 6 yards. He had a touchdown. And then we got some other guys with some cleanup, mop-up work out there. Zach Line, Patterson, and Diggs all had touches with a scramble from Sam Bradford. I am liking the continued rushing attack from the Vikings. Without Adrian Peterson, you can see that their focus is running back by committee.
Right.
And I like the fact that they're getting Patterson involved, as well as Diggs involved too, with some jet sweeps and some other creative ways to get some yardage on the ground. That's important stuff. I like it. It keeps opposing defenses guessing.
I liked it last night. I like running back by committee. I like having a dominant back, but and I'll get into that later with the bold statement, but when you have someone that you know you're going to hit the rock to, it really makes you one-dimensional. And with these guys, they can break off, a 25-yard run. And then Charles Johnson emerges. Actually, let's jump into wide receivers because I got some more trash.
Okay, go for it.
For all the fans out there, I'm not going to belittle you. I'm not going to be like not classy about it, but a lot of people don't understand how the depth chart works. People are saying,
why true.
Is playing? Why is Laquan Treadwell not playing? Because he didn't earn a spot to play yet. That doesn't mean he shouldn't be on the team.
People, not to interrupt, but the fans are so fickle. They get mad because one first-round draft pick, Cordell Patterson, is playing above another first-round draft pick in Laquan Treadwell. These are first-world problems to be having here, folks. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
That's perfect. I love that. Thank you for guys. That's all it is. You're nitpicking right now, and you can stop.
Yeah.
Laquan Treadwell will play when he's ready to play. Just as Teddy Bridgewater wasn't supposed to play, but Matt Castle went down. They were going to sit him that year, if anybody remembers correctly. They were going to sit him the entire year, put him in garbage time, let him learn the playbook. He didn't have that luxury after 3 weeks, but just do this, zip your mouth, listen to Coach Zimmer. He's the MVP of this year, in my opinion. Coach of the year. He knows what he's doing. And people are well, Adam Thielen shouldn't have made the team. You don't watch football closely enough, and you don't know what you're talking about. So don't, because it's not accurate whatsoever. Jon Gruden highlights him before the game last night because he comes up with clutch plays. You can't look for a bomb 80-yard pass every 3 plays. You can't look for a
Arizona.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's not going to happen. It's the little things. Like you were talking about Cordero, and that's why he got the game ball from him. He did something on special teams. He did something as a back. He did something as a receiver. He did lots of little things. And so those are the things that win the game. And I want to give a shout-out to Charles Johnson. He had 2 catches, and I don't know for how much they are because I don't have the stats in front of me, but they were huge. One of them was a 3rd down catch, and he burned one of their rookies, and that's what we picked on last night. Cromartie, I think.
Charles Johnson. He had 2 receptions for 70 yards. The longest was a 40-yard reception. So
anybody that I've seen on the internet, if you are in the Vikings groups that I see on there that I had to unfollow this weekend because I'm still in the group of asinine crap that you guys complain about. You complain about, like, the full, what is it, the color rush jerseys and how ugly they are. Like, just find something important to bitch about. People are,
I like the color rush jerseys. I don't know why everyone else. I don't
understand. Like you said, first world problems. They just find something to complain about. But Charles Johnson made an appearance. I'm really happy to see him catching some balls. They picked on their rookie corner, I believe it was, or one of their 2nd-string corners because their 1st-stringer was hurt. And he's proven that he still has a spot on the team. I'm not saying he's the number 1 receiver. He's not Diggs. But all of the receivers played a pivotal role last night. And
here's the thing about the Vikings receivers is that the way this team is structured and the mentality that Mike Zimmer has is we don't buy into the superstar mentality of, we're going to base the entire offense around, 1 wide receiver or, okay, maybe, Adrian Peterson was the exception, grandfathered in. But, when it comes to these guys is that we don't really quote number 1 receiver. We have lots of guys who can produce, and that's the way the Zim wants this team. So some weeks you're going to have Charles Johnson, who is going to be your go-to guy. And other weeks, it's going to be Stephon Diggs. Other weeks, it might be Cordero Patterson, who ends up being your number 1 receiver in yards, whatever, for the team. So it's all about what the defense can give you and who is going to be the hot hand that week.
Yep.
So we don't preach individual stats. It's a team effort. I'm totally fine with Charles Johnson being the guy this week, and it being someone else next week, and Diggs the next week, and that is
said too that made me think like
because you can't.
Oh, go ahead.
You can't game plan for that as a defensive coordinator, where you can say, okay, we are going to stop Stephon Diggs, and then the Vikings aren't going to be able to throw the football because just no one else is any good on the team. Well, if you stop Diggs, that opens it up for someone else. If you stop Johnson, that opens it up for Diggs. Like, you can see how it's a team effort, really, for the Vikings.
That's a strategy, and I think you can see it more on the defense because that's been the reason they've been winning more than anything this year.
Yep.
There's not – he preaches to everyone. We don't worry about stats. We worry about wins. And it's the same way, like you said, we don't have a Julio Jones on this team. We don't have an Antonio Brown. And we don't need that because that's not how we're built. So if people will understand that and understand what it takes and look, challenge your mind a little bit. Don't be narrow-minded and look for the big play. Look for how they do things against these teams. Carolina had arguably the 2nd-best defense last year. And here we are throwing touchdowns and holding them to 10 points, I get that. But I don't want to spend too much time on these positions. We're going to move to the tight ends. I believe Michael Pruitt played last night. I did see him on the active list.
Yes, he did.
I know I saw him blocking a little bit. Kyle Rudolph continues to earn his paycheck. Got another touchdown. He's got 3 touchdowns in 4 games. He seems to be a good red zone target for Sam Bradford, and he makes clutch in the middle of the field. And you know what that screams to me? Norv Turner doing his job.
He's on his way to another Pro Bowl. And yep. I also think that you listen to Sam talk in his press conferences. He's the first player that he mentions in terms of just being comfortable with. And it's because he's such a big target out there on the field. I'm glad that we're seeing him live up to his potential finally a little bit. He's healthy, too. Being healthy helps.
Knock on wood, that injury bug hasn't gotten him, and he's on pace right now. I mean, he'll have 13 touchdowns at this rate this year, missing a couple games where we don't score with him and Diggs gets it or CJ gets it or whatever, but he's on a good roll there. The offensive line had a lot of good grades. Like I said, TJ Clemming had the worst tonight. Andre Smith went out early. They threw in Jeremiah Cyrils, I think it is. I about said Nick Easton, my bad. I'm starting to remember every player now, though. Alex Boone had his best game, and I believe Fusco played as well. So we had a pretty good game by the O-line last night.
I thought the offense – I don't get too much into stats and breakdowns and all that stuff, but I thought that the offense played a really solid game. I don't know what the break –
They did their job, and they did it pretty well. So that was
yep.
Special teams, we already talked about Blair. He missed a 46-yard field goal to start. After that, he did make another field goal, and he made, I believe, 3 extra points because we scored 3 times. Blair's got to clean that shit up. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but he's gonna get competition brought in. You know who's really improved though? Jeff Locke is punting very well. Keep that up, man. He's punting very, very well, and our special teams all around, our special teams unit all around is playing really good football, causing turnovers. I mean, that shifted the game immediately. So shout out to Mike Prefer and the special teams. I don't know if you want to jump in on special teams at all, but defensive wise.
Oh, you froze up on me. Are you still there, Mr. Smith? I may have lost you.
So much disruption causing so much disruption getting close to Eli that he was dumping passes down. He did not want to get hit last night, and that forced miscommunications. We double-teamed Odell, so we had to rely on Victor Cruz and their rookie, I can't remember his name, receiver. But the biggest play was a broken screen from a running back I've never heard of. So I think we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, I was a little worried. Eric Kendricks, he was missing some open field tackles that were uncharacteristic of him. You cut out there a little bit at the beginning of your rant, so I don't know if you had.
I think I saw network connection stuff. That's my bad. I was just talking about the D line and then moving on.
Okay. But Kendricks is still. You got to remember, he's still a young player. You're gonna have games like that. Whatever. I'm not worried too much about that. This defense, though, it's just amazing the level that they are playing at. Being able to, like I said, they're altering the other team's game plans coming in. This is not the days of Leslie Frazier and the Tampa 2, where teams are just running rampant over us and doing whatever they want. We are, we didn't get to Eli. Yeah, it's the opposite of it.
I love it.
Yep. The interception by Xavier Rhodes, man, it's just, watching these guys out there working, and it's the definite next step. You hear this term a lot. It's like taking a step from year to year. And last year we were a good defense that wasn't getting turnovers, and this year we're a good defense that's getting turnovers, and that's what a great defense.
That's what I hope continues. I hope we continue to just force our will defensively and we don't turn the ball over ourselves. Knock on wood, 3 or 4 games we haven't done that, and I hope we don't start. For the interception of Xavier, then we can talk about the social media question last week, which you guys killed it, man. We had so many responses. I can't wait to talk about those.
Go for it.
I want to give credit to Xavier's interception to the D-line. Heads-up play, I mean, Odell and Eli were not on the same page for that play. Heads-up play by Xavier and looking to find the ball, but dude, I'm telling you, they're going to cause picks because they're in his face. That's the whole reason why that happened, and they just weren't on the same page. And shout out to the fans that went to that game. Mike Zimmer keeps telling you, like, we need you every week because you're loud as all get out. I know it caused them for a couple of penalties last night, and it cost them disruption in their game plan. But I just want to give a shout out to Xavier for that interception. And
and hey, people quieted down on offense.
Alex Boone was getting so mad.
Hey, it turns out that everyone was really super excited for the home opener of a brand new stadium. Chill out a little bit, Alex Boone.
Especially he just got here too. I was like, man, he does not care at all. So
I like that. I mean, I didn't like the comments, but I mean,
I could have worded better. Absolutely.
I like the fact that he was just like speaks his mind. That's cool.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm glad he's on our team too, man. When you guys like that.
He's got some cool sidebar. He's got some cool tattoos.
Yeah, I know. If you guys, this is another shout out too. If you guys haven't never seen 96 Questions with B-Rob or Words with Teammates, go to the Vikings every weekend, like Friday, Saturday. Some of the funniest crap I've ever seen. You get to see the I'm in interview mode. We played good. We came over adversity, blah, blah, blah. Like all that stupid reporter
coach speak.
You get to see them be themselves, and they're super funny. So check that out.
Yeah.
But social media question last week, we had 15 responses, and I'm going to go through every friggin' one of them. And I think it was a fair question. We played very well. We were undefeated. We still are. I'm taking all the credit this week. I'm sorry. I don't know. I have moments. It's probably the only week this whole year I'm going to work. Social media question I came up with last week. Through 3 games, and I wish I could get all of you back now for 4. Who's your MVP thus far? Let's see what we have to say. John Johns, he's a regular, says Coach Zim, his never quit attitude. He's instilled to this team, has made it so that all the players and even the fans that we can believe that we can win any game regardless of circumstance. Could not have said that better myself, man. Like I said, I called in the local radio station here today. Starting left tackle, running back, and quarterback goes down. There's not a team out there that you would think is going to go undefeated. I don't care who you're playing. Here we are. So, John Johns, I totally agree with you. Shout out to Gully Rhodes, and we all know who Gully Rhodes is. Yeah, man, I love it. We follow each other personally, man. He's a good guy for the show. Dorian Foley, by the way. Can I do a Kyle Smith and say the entire defense? I'd give my MVP to Sam Bradford. And I said, man, we're causing nightmares. Shout out to Dorian Foley, man. Good stuff. John Dostal, Eric Hendricks, my buddy David Ordson, North Carolina boy who loves the Vikings like myself. He's like, can we vote for Zimmer? I love all these Coach Zimmer choices, man. Absolutely. Zach Murphy picks Jeff Locke. Adam Parker says Diggs or Griffin. Both, in my opinion, are the best teams on their side, best players on those sides of the ball. Anybody on defense, everybody stepped up from Justin Weber. Steve Marr says the defense is a unit. Steven Osborne says if we can't pick Zimmer, I would have to go with either Diggs or Griffin. Thomas Buge, Griffin, I think he leads the team in sacks, and you can tell he's wearing his captain badge with pride, which that's pretty good. That's a good observation. Almost to the end here, Gregory Ganaway says Harry the Hitman. He was a human black hole for quarterbacks. That's funny. Jeremy Wood says Trey Waynes. Not a bad choice, man. Not a bad choice. Corbin Johnson with my favorite. He says Christian Ponder. Jess Wickstrom says Linval, and Darren Roach rounds it out with another vote for Coach Zimmer. It sounds like everybody's bought into Coach Zimmer this year. Thank you for everybody who does the comments on that. I know we have to come up with stuff exciting to talk about, but whenever you guys can kind of like put your stamp on it, I see that you really like those kinds of questions. So I'll try to gear more to those. But thank you to everybody who commented on those. We'll put up another one. I have another one that I was just on a roll recently. I'm telling you, all this is going to burn out because I'm not that good at this kind of stuff. I got another one for next week I think you guys will like. But moving on from the Giants game, we're 4-0. We have another home game, 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 whatever time zone.
12. I can't make it 2. I don't know how to make it 2.
Well, I don't know what time zone you guys are in.
We're in Central.
Central, that's it.
Yeah.
We're playing the Houston Texans. Don't sleep on this team. They only have 1 loss. I don't know how Brock Osweiler's been doing. I truthfully don't care. I haven't paid attention. But do not have J.J. Watt. They don't have their best player. The Davian Clowney is a bust. I'm just going to say that. But they have a top 5 wide receiver. So please be wary of that. I hope we play just like we did against Odell Beckham and Jordy Nelson against him and limit them. The key here is pressure the hell out of Brock Osweiler. That's the whole point of the game. But it's another home game. I do believe we are going to win this game. We have every right to believe we are. We have confidence. We have that swagger, as I hate that word. But, yeah, next test is the Houston Texans come Sunday.
I don't want to get too overly confident, but we are fans. We're allowed to be a little overly confident. Mm-hmm. After the way we were able to beat up on Aaron Rodgers and Cam Newton, Eli Manning, who the hell's Brock Osweiler? Like, right? I mean, come on. He played on a Broncos team.
The only reason I get worried about this kind of stuff is that's the kind of game where you.
Those are the ones that sneak up on you. Yeah, and he has a 300-yard passing game. Yeah, I know what you mean, but I also have so much faith in this coaching staff and Mike Zimmer they will prepare the same, whether it's Brett Favre or whoever is out there, they will prepare they will prepare just the same for it.
I love it, man. Like I said, I have confidence that we'll win this game. We have to keep playing like we are. We can't let big runs break out, and we got to keep forcing turnovers and be a nightmare for Brock Osweiler. That's going to be pressure, number one. Is it bold statement time? Is it that time of the show?
It's bold statement time. Go for it.
I'm going to go ahead and turn my bold statement into the social media question because I think this is just going to get so many responses. It's probably going to piss a lot of you off. And trust me when I say I'm not going to burn this. I'm going to keep this jersey because I love this kid and I love his attitude and everything else. But I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think this team is better without Adrian Peterson and Teddy Bridgewater. And I'm going to make a lot of you mad with that. And you have to be rational before you come through the screen and try to stab me in the throat. My biggest concern, and I'll talk about Adrian in a minute, was Teddy Bridgewater opening it up. And the simple unknown of him pushing it down the field is the biggest thing we can't put our finger on because we had no body of work in a regular season game. We all had the hype going, and we know he's mobile. Do I think that he makes as many throws that Sam makes and as far and as accurate? I don't. And I don't think that it's not because he's capable and his skill. I just think that Sam's built that way. We saw Sam Bradford run last night. He is no Teddy Bridgewater. So I think that's what I've been saying the whole time since we acquired Sam in that trade. This is the kind of quarterback that Turner will excel with. He has a tight end to run it. He has good receivers that know how to do this. He's got people that are stepping up like Cordarrelle Patterson. I think this is a win for the Vikings picking up Sam Bradford and barring him just totally pooping the tank and getting injured or whatever weird thing that might happen. I think we're better off with him. And I'm going to tell you straight up right now, if this continues, Teddy's not going to have a job next year. And I hate saying that. But right now, if this continues, Sam Bradford's still on this team 1,000% next year. And that's not a bad thing. Like, I want you guys to hear me say it again. I don't not like Teddy. I wish him a speedy recovery. And he's a great kid, and he's a good quarterback. But he's got some competition, and he should be worried. On to Adrian Peterson, and I'll let you give your thoughts in on this. But you guys know how I feel. I try to keep my personal feelings out of it. I'm not a perfect person. I don't like what happened a couple years ago, but I've done things that are not favorable in my life. On the field, Adrian's been the face of our team for the last decade. I really do think it's a good thing that we don't have him for the remainder of the regular season. There were 8- and 9-man boxes, and I'm just going to tell you straight up, he was getting stuffed, whether it be from the pistol or maybe he lost a step. I don't know. I don't think he lost a step. Obviously, last year he looked pretty good. I think instead of being so one-dimensional, this confuses teams because you're like, oh, well, it's Adam Thielen out there. Oh, it's Cordarrelle Patterson. Well, yeah, and they're going to get open, and quarterback is going to deliver the ball to him. Well, damn it, man, we got to cover these guys. And then you start backing up a little bit. Well, here's Jerick McKinnon and Matt Asiata. You take your pick. I think this makes us a more balanced team. And I'm not leaning so much as towards the Teddy Bridgewater might lose his job as I am. Adrian Peterson going down was a blessing in disguise. And I love that guy to death. He's a Hall of Famer. He's been great for the team. But, man, has he just been a cleanse from the same – we all knew the drives. I mean, Kyle, you know what we were going to do. We're going to hand it to Adrian. We're going to hand it to Adrian, and we're going to throw it on 3rd and 7.
Yeah.
Single.
You're not wrong.
And I hate that because some days he'll break it off when we play we can't even say lesser opponents. He had a great game against San Diego last year. He broke one off for Denver. We were in that game up until the end. But it's not as consistent as it used to be. This isn't 2012 where he has a 200-yard game every other week. You know what I mean? So I think this makes us more balanced. I want to know what all of you think. Do you think we're a more balanced team without Teddy and Adrian, without Teddy or Adrian, one or the other? What are your thoughts on that? I'm going to post that on the social media question of the week as soon as we're done with the show. But what do you think, man? What are your thoughts on this? I hope I didn't make too many people mad.
No, it's a good question. I like it. It's a fun one, too. I think that Teddy Bridgewater can and will outplay Sam Bradford. We were seeing some really good things from Teddy in preseason. He was extremely on point and accurate where they were moving the ball down the field. He was finding the open guy. He was making really incredible reads. I think that he, in a flat-out one-on competition, both of them full up to speed. I think Teddy's the better option. I really do. Now, we'll see coming back from injury, what's going to happen with that, if that will change his game. It gets more complicated because then you start looking at, well, if the Vikings go deep into the playoffs and Sam Bradford looks like a Pro Bowl quarterback, if the Vikings win the Super Bowl and Sam Bradford is a Pro Bowl MVP, okay, then that's a different story. You kind of just got to wait and see what happens with this. It's a conversation that will be the A topic all off season. Like, how we had the off season where we talked about Adrian all off season.
Oh, this is going to flood the storylines. So it's going to be split down the middle. There's going to be a lot of people who are Teddy homers that are on the Sam Bradford bandwagon. There are people that hated the trade from the get-go. We could win the Super Bowl, and they would still say it's safe.
Where I sit right now as a Minnesota Vikings fan is that I still love Teddy. Teddy's still my quarterback. Sam Bradford is the guy playing quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings right now. He is doing an incredible job given the circumstances. I think he is going to continue to improve and get better, so I'm going to support him 100% as our quarterback. And I hope that he's the one that can lead us deep into the playoffs and to get that Super Bowl win. I would love nothing more for that to happen. We'll save the rest of it for later on, the rest of the discussions later on. In terms of Adrian, I agree with you on that one. I actually do think that we are better off as an offense. Someone said, "Shut up, LOL," in the chat. So
yes.
They're liking this discussion right now, Mr. Smith. But in terms of Adrian, we are better off without him. We really are. And it comes down to a little bit of what I was saying before, is that we don't cater this offense to superstars. And Adrian Peterson is a superstar, and you have to keep him happy and give him his touches, and he's earned it. I'm not saying he hasn't earned it, but I'm saying that these are things you have to do with him. That, Jerick McKinnon doesn't really give a shit what he gets for touches or passes or whatever. Like, he's part of the Minnesota Vikings. And Adrian Peterson, it's different with him. You have to do certain things to appease him. And he's in a career where I don't...
He's got a bit of an ego, and it's totally understandable. I mean, you're going to the Hall of Fame. Like I said earlier before we started this year and he got hurt, if he had a 1,200-yard season, which he could have done easily, he's going to be in the top 10 for numbers, and I think he's at 99 or 100 touchdowns already. So, dude, I totally
and this is going to piss people off. He's not worth what the Vikings are paying him.
No, not at all. And I don't care your stance on that. He's not worth.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not worth a lot of money. He's not worth the money we're giving him. This is the loyalty that he cried and kicked and whined and screamed over a couple of years ago that he said we didn't have. Have you seen your game checks?
Yeah.
No, man. You're getting taken care of. Please tell me more about how bad you have it. That made me a little upset.
And I mean, guys, I have hanging up right over there. You seen the big Adrian Peterson painting that I had my friend Jessica paint for me. Like, I'm a big AP fan. Like, I've got his shit. I've got his jerseys. I got the painting, bobbleheads, and photographs. And, like, I got all the AP stuff. I know he's the man, like you guys are saying in the chat. But sometimes got to let go of certain things for the greater good. And that's going to be an unpopular opinion, but
if he takes a significant pay cut and understands and fully, I think he's about 80% into the Zimmer role of team football or whatever. I think he's about 80% there. If he could take a pay cut and just absorb that, I'd be totally happy with keeping him. The pay cut's really big. But I told you guys this 2 years ago. Trade him, get a second-round pick. We could have gotten I wouldn't say we get a Todd Gurley. He was pretty high up, but I mean, we could have gotten a Derrick Henry out of there. I don't know. And you know what? And maybe we could still get something for him. I know you guys.
I really like Jerick McKinnon.
I like it too. But I'm thinking of maybe replacing Matt Asiata. There's a guy named Leonard Fournette and a guy named Nick Chubb coming out of football. I mean, you got to look in the future, man. He's not going to be around forever, and I'm not saying that because I don't like him. I'm not writing him off completely. Mm-hmm. But you don't win against Father Time. And I don't know. I'm sure he could go somewhere else and be productive. They'd love to have him. But if he comes back from –
he'll go to Dallas. That is not even a joke. Like, he will either get traded or he'll get, like, released. He'll be playing in Dallas.
I think, they're Houston.
Yeah.
He could damn well go to Houston because I know they have Zeke Elliott, they have Alfred Morris, and they're doing fantastic over there. I don't know who either one, but I get it. And it's not – I'm not saying that I hate the guy. He's a phenomenal player. And by all means, quote me now. If he comes back, last game of the year or the playoffs, play him. Absolutely.
And see, Jon Gruden makes a good point in the chat where he's like, I love Adrian Peterson, but I would hate to go back to that old offense. And that's what we're talking about, where it's predictability.
100%.
Where it's first down, where I know it, you know it, we all know it. That first down, Adrian's getting the ball, he's running right up the middle. Second down, Adrian's getting the ball, and he's running right up the middle. And third down, we're going to try a bubble screen, and then we're going to punt. I mean,
and you got to take the first game, and here's my example. I know it's one game.
We're salty as shit today. You know that?
Who, me?
Both of us.
Oh, yeah. But take the first game. Take the first game as an example. Tennessee was a great run defending team. You stuff it up the middle. And look, you got to take. This is why I tell people to broaden their minds. Learn. I don't even when I watch football on TV, I'm not looking up at individual matchups all the time. I can't read the game as well as anybody else out there. But you got to think too. Like this O-line is a better pass blocking O-line than a run blocking O-line. Mm-hmm. You got to think about these kind of things. And when we say these things, I take all those things into consideration. I'm not just
who am I
gonna crap on this week? It's not why I'm doing it. So just so you guys know that.
And Smith and I are both fully aware that we're on record. We're being recorded. Adrian could very well come back this season, in December, and just make us look like complete jackasses for this rant that we're on right now. And if
a win and a championship.
Yeah, and if he does, I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that too.
And whatever gets us a win and a championship and get to the big dance. We haven't been to the big dance since I think 1977, so we're well overdue. Mm-hmm. We have the formula, we have the roster, we have the coach, we have the attitude. But yeah, man, this is all meant to spark conversation. So I know this is gonna piss off so many people, but hey, man, it's my opinions. If you have something different, don't be a jerk about it, but tell me why. Maybe I'll see something that you didn't tell me. Who knows? But
someone wants to know, how long have you been recording? Over an hour at this point.
Yeah, about an hour. We've just been. We get diarrhea of the mouth. When me and Kyle do this, when it's the Kyle and Kyle show, we just go.
Don't expect much of a format and expect everything. I'm surprised there's still people in the chat room with us.
Shout out to all those people, man. We're gonna wrap the show. I've got my link here. I don't know why. We always flip-flop. Somebody's thing doesn't work every week. But basically, if you want to have any music, if you have any music choices, send me some requests. I mean, shit, I'll even think about doing requests. I'm moving to El Paso this month, so I'll be down for shooting videos or whatever for a couple of weeks. But this is my music.
Oh, this is awesome. This is my new favorite comment. This show is great. Better than that Skip Bayless crap.
Oh, my God. Who said that? Shout out them right now.
Stephen Osborne. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
You're my friggin' hero. Skip Bayless is an idiot.
Message us on Facebook.com/Purple People Podcast. We'll see if we can send you something fun in the mail for that comment, because that comment is awesome. We'll get you a shirt or autographed 8x10, or we got all kinds of Vikings crap. So message us on Facebook.
See, this is what we do. We do this show for you guys because we're one of you guys. So thank you for the people that are in the chat. This is my personal stuff here. It's my Facebook music page. I have all kinds of videos up. I do music outside of my job in the Air Force, and that's what I do. Adam Carlson, I'll give him the shout out now as we wrap up the show. He's a writer for the Viking Age and also Undead Walking. He has a lot of fantastic articles. He's a great writer. He's very hardworking. That's actually what he's doing right now, so he can't be with us. So check out his articles at thevikingage.com. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead, go to undeadwalking.com. I know that new season's about to gear up, and I actually think once I'm done with Parks and Rec, I'm going to start watching The Walking Dead and get on this train because I hear nothing but good things. And the other two things before I let Kyle promote and we end the show. Number one, I think the Yahoo Fantasy Survival League is still going on. Please get on that. Yeah. Me and Kyle don't really do that. We do the Twitter and the Facebook machine and do all that. Adam usually does the Survival League. Please get on that. Make your picks. I don't know how many people we have left. We can do an update when we talk with Adam next. And also, we have a YouTube channel, and it's going to be youtube.com/Purple People Podcast. We have well over 1,000 likes on the Facebook page. Once we get to 1,000 on YouTube, what we're doing now on Google Hangouts is going to be even better on YouTube. So you're only going to help us upgrade even more for the show, and we can have interactions and stuff. So help us. We're going to promote that all the time. We're going to shove it down your throat and get you to come to YouTube and subscribe until we hit that 1,000 marker milestone. But Kyle West has some cool stuff, and I'll let him round out the show.
Yeah, some of the cool things I can do when we switch to YouTube Live is I can do intros and outros to the show. I can pull up like highlights, like video clips. We can have audio, hey, here's Mike Zimmer's press conference. I was able to pull an audio clip from it, and we can play that during the show, so that we can say hey, this is what Mike Zimmer had to say. And then we can talk about it. It can be a much more interactive and fun show for everyone. So that's why it's really important for us to hit that number. You can buy my bullshit over at KyleWestPhotography.com, and there's stuff there. You should check it out.
There's stuff and things, and they're all great. And give me your monies now. Yeah. No, yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Social media questions. I don't like to do super bold, stupid, controversial crap. Funny that Steven mentioned Skip Bayless earlier, because that's all he does is say asinine crap to get people to listen and pissed off. I try to do stuff logically that might make some kind of sense. But shout out to everybody that listened today and they continue to listen. I mean, we're on 220 episodes of this machine.
Somehow.
And yeah, somehow, someway.
We don't know how.
But thank you guys, as we tell you every week. Classiest fans out there. People are doubting us right now. Some people are overhyping us. Some people are like, what the hell? How did this happen? We're 4-0, baby. Keep the
5-0.
Oh yeah, we're working on it, man. This is our year. We say it every year. I'm fully confident. So thank you to everybody that believes in the stuff that we do and follows us on the page. Check out all our social media, Facebook.com/Purple People Podcast. Check out the Twitter machine at Purple People Pod, YouTube.com/Purple People Podcast. We have all kinds of social media outlets. If you want to hit us up, send us a direct message on any of those. If it's going to be Facebook, it's probably going to be me. It goes on my phone, and I interact immediately. So Kyle does a lot of Twitter stuff. Adam's always around. We have our friend Tommy Gunn. Shout out to Tommy Gunn. He always does a lot of social media stuff with us. So, yeah, man, check us out. And I guess I'm gearing for the roll-in, so I'm going to say it because Adam's not here. Stay classy, Minnesota.